if you're a GC contender, you can't be too far back on the top of the last climb. If you're too far back, it's because the first day you don't have the legs. You're suffering. Otherwise, you're in front, right? You're in the top 20 and not in the top 40, not in 40th place.
Everybody, welcome to the Move Plus Giro d'Italia edition. We are breaking down stage one, which just wrapped up in Tirana, Albania. And then at the end of the show, we are going to preview stage two. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel, and he is going to tell us how in the heck Mads Pedersen won this stage and who is going to win tomorrow. But before we get into tomorrow's time trial, Johan, I want to talk a little bit about today. If you didn't see it, but you want to listen to the show anyway, spoilers coming up right now. Mads Pedersen wins over Wout van Aert. It was, I thought it was going to be a hard stage. I did not believe this talk of sprinters getting to the line, like pure sprinters. And it was a hard stage, especially for the first day of a Grand Tour. Started off easy. There was a long climb in the middle, but Visma, Lisa Bike took the pace up, made it tough. I assume they wanted to hurt the sprinters. It was a little weird because they had a sprinter in their team in Olav Koy. And then there was two loops of the same climb when they got into the city. And I've never been to Albania before. I was kind of shocked at how mountainous the terrain was. And it looked like some of the riders were, because Lidl-Trek takes the pace up on those last two climbs, looked really strong, starts shedding any of the remaining sprinters. I think Caden Groves made it to the last time up that climb, but got dropped. But then what I did not expect is there was splits at the top of the climb in the lead group, like Thymen Arensman's off the back, Derek G, my wild card pick, off the back. They descend down. It's a small group. It was 30 something riders on the same time, but really there wasn't that many riders contesting the win. And then it's a reduced sprint. Mads Pedersen wins over Wout van Aert, who we can talk about if he did anything wrong there. I thought maybe he waited too late. He looked fast, coming fast at the end. And then a rider, Orlius Arlar from Venezuela.
Luis Orlar from Venezuela.
And then a rider I've never heard of, Francisco Busado, getting fourth from Intermarché Wanty, and then Tom Pidcock fifth. I did not expect GC action, but there was GC splits with Arensman and Derek G losing time, and then Mika Landa crashing out of the race entirely on that descent, and then Jay Vine crashed, finished, lost time, but I can't imagine he's going to play in any GC role. Unclear what he can do for the team at this point even, but what were your main takeaways from the stage, Johan?
Yeah, well, as you say, Spencer, it was harder than expected. The real sprinters didn't make it. You can say Van Aert and Pedersen and Olar are also real sprinters, especially in this field, right? But you see Sam Bennett and Caden Groves and Olav Koy and, really pure sprinters, it was way too hard for them. And the fact that only 35 riders or something make it in the first group says enough, I think, on a stage one of a Grand Tour. And it was clear that Pedersen was going for this stage, and his team was reeling around him amazingly. They were super strong during the whole stage, especially on the last climb. Pedersen was actually in second and third position all the time. Ciccone did a great job. Carlos Verona did a great job on that last climb. And then Matthias Vacek, amazing lead out, super strong rider. And so Pedersen was one of the big favorites. He won fair and square. So I think that's about it. And then, Van Aert was up there, finished the second, comes back. No, it was not photo finish, but at least he was contesting the sprint together with Pedersen. His team really believed in him also. And I was surprised to see yesterday in his interview at the presentation of the Giro that he revealed that he had been sick in the week leading up to the Giro, and that he was not very confident and he had doubts about what his condition would be. So I think finishing second for Van Aert in today's stage is definitely a good thing for his morale. I mean, I think he's not 100%. We could see that on that last climb. He had to go back a few places, almost got dropped. Normally a guy like Van Aert would usually stay at least in the same position as Mads Pedersen on a climb like this. He couldn't do that today, but didn't get dropped or made it back. So I think that's definitely good for the next stages, because usually Van Aert gets better in a Grand Tour. But hey, Mads Pedersen, deserved winner, first the pink jersey wearer, and other than that, it's obviously a shame that a guy like Mikel Landa crashes and is straight away out of the race. Didn't look good. He was carried away on the stretcher, and with a collar on. I mean, of course, it's for precaution. I have no information yet about what the consequences of the crash are, but crashing out in a big tour, in a Grand Tour on day one, is the worst that you can imagine. So hopefully he's okay. Ayuso crashed in the middle of the stage. Doesn't seem like he hurt himself, but it's never good, if you crash. So that can have an impact tomorrow on the time trial. And then Johan, unfortunately, crashed again, also in the same crash there as Mikel Landa. There was not much you could do, I think Landa crashed the first of the 4 or 5 guys that were on the floor, and then little groups that came afterwards also crashed. So it was a really dangerous corner. Unfortunately, those things happen, and it's a bummer for Landa, especially also for the team, because he was the leader of the team of Soudal Quickstep. I don't think they have any other, or not big ambitions for other riders. So now they'd have to. If you lose your leader on day one, it can be a long 3 weeks for a team, very long.
Yeah, that has got to be incredibly demoralizing. I mean, it's a bummer, because he wouldn't have won, wouldn't have podiumed perhaps, but he would have put it all out there. Like, he has nothing to lose, so he would have been a big animator. Big blow to UAE. Like, we don't really know how Jay Vine is, but they lose a GC card right there. They potentially lose a rider that could do a lot of work. But like on the stage win, probably the right rider won. I mean, that was such a dominant display from Lidl-Trek, just having. And I was really impressed with, not only did they have riders with Pedersen like the whole time on the climbs and then into the finish, they had like big riders that could perform a lead out. Like, Wout van Aert had teammates with him in the finale, but it was Simon Yates. Like, Simon Yates isn't going to help you with that lead out there. It just Lidl-Trek, I couldn't believe, like, Ciccone putting in a lot of good work. They just looked like a team firing on all cylinders. Yeah, like, continuing that spring momentum. Mads Pedersen maybe not been sprinting the best of his career in this spring, but looked pretty fast today. And I'm sure the hardness of the race helped, just made everyone else so tired. As you say, yeah, Van Aert, that's a good sign. If he's sick, and even Van Aert, like, at his best, like, think of the Vuelta last year, he's third on the first day, second on the second day, starts winning on the third day. So this is in line with his kind of the rhythm of his career so far in these Grand Tours, where he comes in, looks good, maybe doesn't win right away, and then he's like a computer. He like solves these problems, or he just gets better as the race goes on. So, I mean, there was tears from my son was just despondent after this stage.
Oh yeah, because he's a huge Vuelta,
yeah,
right?
It was a problem. But I was trying to explain to him, like, it actually is not the worst thing. And interesting little GC battle here, because Pedersen takes the lead, 10-second time bonus. Wout second with a 6-second time bonus. So he's 4 seconds back. Going into the TT tomorrow, it's only 13K, so those guys could have a little pink jersey battle. Wout might be in pink, maybe Mads Pedersen holds it, or one of the guys behind. It would have to be someone in that lead group, right? So Juan Ayuso, Primoz Roglic. And then a quick note on the GC before we move on. Thymen Arensman for the second Giro in a row, just caught out on I mean, if I was, if Mateusz Wojcik is there, probably a GC contender should be able to stay there on those climbs. But I mean, if we did this race, Johan, we would say, wow, this is really hard on the first day of a Grand Tour. Like, I can kind of understand how you could be caught out, but you probably, if you want to win the race, you probably have to be prepared on stage one. That's the way these Grand Tours are raced now.
But you can hardly say that Arensman is going to win the Giro. He's a top 5 contender at most likely between 5th and 10th. I think he did great last year, and he lost a lot of time on stage one, a lot more time than today. We also don't know if he got caught behind a crash or not, right? We don't know that. Same for Derek G. I've read somewhere that Derek G was caught behind one of his teammates, Frigo. I think Frigo crashed, and Derek G was caught behind Derek G. And Arendsman lose considerable time already in stage one. So that's definitely not the way to start, but it's far from over, of course. I think Arendsman, if Arendsman compares to last year, I think he's like 2 minutes ahead of, he loses a minute or something, but he's 2 minutes ahead of last year's time loss. So not all is lost. It's 3 weeks.
I think it was just real. Experience kind of ruled the day, because even the Ayuso crash, he was pretty far back when he crashed. And Roglic was never far back. Roglic was right there all day. Like he's seen this all. He knows what to avoid.
Yeah, and then also Spencer, in Arendsman's case, I don't know if that's the case, but I have the impression that, and some riders have this problem. They start a Grand Tour or any stage race, and the first day or the first 2 days, they're just not there. Nothing seems to work. It's everything goes difficult, and then after 3-4 days, they start to get into the rhythm. This could be the problem that Arendsman has. It's not. It's been 2 times in a row now. So maybe he's one of those guys who just takes longer to. And if the first day is already a challenging day, some guys just need 2-3 days to get in the rhythm. That's maybe his problem. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, Arendsman was dropped in the climb, but at least with Derek G, it was so fast.
Arendsman was dropped on the climb. Okay, I didn't see that.
Right near the top. I was just looking at the video of it right before we recorded. But then, with G, you can tell it's so fast over the top, it just gets away from you. Like if you're sitting too far back, it's just you're dropped before you even know what's going on.
But also, Spencer, listen. I mean, if you're a GC contender, you can't be too far back on the top of the last climb. If you're too far back, it's because the first day you don't have the legs. You're suffering. Otherwise, you're in front, right? You're in the top 20 and not in the top 40, not in 40th place.
Well, speaking of dropping back on that climb, I'm getting our pre-show and our show confused, but Van Aert had to drop back. Like Pedersen, it seemed like he never left the top 3 wheels on that climb. Van Aert did have to drop back, then work his way back up. So you could see right there that it makes sense if he's talking about being sick on antibiotics, but Pedersen probably just a little bit fitter today and is why he won in that sprint. And then we should mention Red Bull, Bora, on the final climb. You noticed they were right there. They were even polling, like when those GC riders were crashing at the back, Red Bull's up front polling, keeping Roglic out of trouble. And then someone you didn't see up there in the front of the climb was UAE. Like when Pogacar's not at the race, they are just all over the place. Like, good luck, Juan Ayuso. Good luck navigating this climb in the finale, because there's not going to be anybody with you. It just, who knows how this is going to play out later, but it did seem right there like that was a significant tell of Red Bull's come into this really focused. UAE does not have the Pogacar shine at the moment because he's not here, and it could be a messier race than we're used to seeing with him at the race.
Yeah. I think the contrast was remarkable. As you say, Red Bull was very organized. It looked to me also that Primoz had great legs. He was extremely attentive, especially for the first stage. Sometimes a little bit too much in the front, I would say, for a GC contender. UAE was just disorganized. Never saw them as a unit. I don't know if that's because Ayuso is not good at positioning, or as you say, if Pogacar is there, they're a well-oiled machine, and without him, they're all over the place. So that's obviously a concern. I'm not expecting that's going to repeat itself. I mean, once the race gets into harder terrain, they're automatically going to be in the front with the strength they have. But Red Bull looked really good as a team. I was really pleased to see that.
Speaking of well-oiled machines, Primoz Roglic, you said you heard an interview with him where he said he'd not reconned any of this race. He doesn't know the route, basically.
He does know the route, of course, but I did see an interview where he specifically said that he hadn't reconned any of the stages, any of the climbs. he said, I'll see when we get there. I'll study the book. Obviously, there's enough information out there, and they all have VeloViewer and details about every single part of the course. But I found it remarkable that the top favorite of the Tour of Italy hasn't reconned any of the stages. Obviously, he has given priority to his training and his preparation at altitude, I guess, over going over to Italy and previewing some of the stages. But I was surprised to see that. Maybe the team has reconned everything and they will pass him on the information, but there's nothing that replaces riding the climbs, especially the ones you don't know. For example, if it's stage 20, quality Finestre.
Has he done the Finestre? You think that
need
is
to
one
know
you
that climb?
I
mean, listen, if you're the favorite, you need to know that climb.
I mean, maybe he just knows that it ends in one of the stages ends in Slovenia, and he thought, "I've got this. I know this route." Yeah, I am looking at stage 20, and I would probably want to know those climbs before I did that.
I mean, they'll preview it on video, and they'll watch other races that have passed there. When Froome won, it's been plenty of times the Giro has gone over it, but this is a beast of a climb. I mean, supposing that they will go over it, right? Because the reports are that there was snow on top. We'll see when we get there in 3 weeks what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be, it will not be clearly communicated, whatever they decide to do. But just a few other GC notes before we move on. A rider that had a good day, flying under the radar. So 2 riders, I'd say Richard Carapaz, 7th on the stage. That's impressive. And then Jai Hindley in there for Red Bull Bora. So on the same time as Primož Roglic, Danny Martinez gets dropped. So we kind of are seeing the early hierarchy in that team. And Egan Bernal in that front group as well. So
you would expect them to be there, right? I mean, if Egan Bernal and Hindley are not there, we would be saying, okay, they're at the same level as Derek G and Arensman. And in my opinion, they're above those guys.
By the way,
I don't know if you saw. I mean, a little detail for the viewers. Great design of the Colombian champions jersey for Egan Bernal. New design, and if the people who have been following cycling for a long time, it's a reminder to the mid '80s Café de Colombia. That the Colombian team was sponsored by Café de Colombia, and there was these mountains, the colors of Colombia, and there's like it's a mountain pattern, and that's on the new jersey of Egan Bernal. So great detail for the Colombian fans.
I did not know that. I'm looking at that now. That makes a lot of sense now that you mention it. Also someone else I forgot to mention. Antonio Tiberi dropped out of Tour of the Alps sick, I believe, and then looked quite good today. Bahrain Victorious was on the front foot. That's someone to keep an eye on. But I kind of wanted to talk about where our picks went wrong. We kind of had a bad day. I picked Van Aert. I picked him because he was half the price of Pedersen, so I still feel okay about that. Obviously, Pedersen would have been the right pick. Your pick, Tom Pidcock. I mean, we don't want to dwell too much on this, but these riders he was beaten by, and I was surprised how downbeat he was before the stage. He's like, no, I can't win this stage. There's just going to be too many fast people there. But I remember him being quite a fast sprinter. Like, did he not win Amstel Gold?
He finished 5th, no?
He finished 5th, but...
Okay, well, hey, that's pretty good, man. I mean, you're beaten by... Listen, our Luis Orlar is a sprinter. He has won bunch sprints, not at the level of Pedersen and Van Aert, but he is a sprinter. Then the other guy, he's 22 years old, the Italian guy of Intermarché. I don't know his qualities, but he must be a fast sprinter too. So, 5th, Pidcock's not a sprinter, right? I mean,
it was a hard stage like that.
Yeah, but he's fast. He's fast in like little groups of 5, 6, 7 people. If there's 30, 40 people together, I think 5th place is pretty good for Pidcock. I mean, I think you're probably reading a bit too much in it. I think fifth was about as good as he could get. I mean, one place better would have been fourth, but the first three are just way faster than Pidcock.
I guess it's all contract dependent. Like if the guy in fourth was making £5 million a year, you would say maybe not a great result. But if he's making what he's making, it's a great result. So that's where it gets a little complicated with Pidcock.
Yeah. And then we didn't talk about the sprint and Wout van Aert and where it went wrong, Spencer. I think.
Oh yeah.
Van Aert. He's second. Was up there with Pedersen. I think where it went wrong was in just before the last corner, where he was at the wheel of the track train and lets himself push away by the Venezuelan guy Olar from Movistar, and was on his wheel. So I mean, if Van Aert could fight and stay on Pedersen's wheel, he maybe would have had a chance. Now the way it was and the extreme fast lead out of Vacek. He had to come across Olar and didn't have a chance. But yeah, I think there it went wrong for Van Aert. He lost position. He was on Pedersen's wheel and lost that wheel.
Should he have gone earlier? Or just went when he could go?
Yeah, probably not. It was far. I mean, when they took the corner, it was 500 meters to go. Super fast speed of Vacek. There was no way. There was no way you could go earlier. He did what he could, but he was in the wrong position. He should have been on Pedersen's wheel.
Definitely shows you why it's helpful to have like a super strong team with lead out riders there. Like Pedersen didn't have to deal with any of that. Like I didn't even know there was a fight going on behind him.
Yeah, no, it was the speed was super, super high, and he just didn't have to fight for position. He just had to follow the wheel of his teammate.
Yeah, this is crazy. The people are, I don't want to be a Wout defender, but people are talking about this guy like he's washed up. This is his last 6 races: second, fourth, second. Never outside the top 5, and these are some of the biggest races in the world, including Paris-Roubaix and the Tour of Flanders. So, this leads us actually into our next topic tomorrow. This is one of the juiciest predictions I can remember in my own recent memory. I'm quite excited for this. Let's take a quick ad break, though, to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Caldera Lab. Let's be honest, cycling is not great for your skin. Between the cold, the wind, and all the road spray during the rainy spring season, your face takes a beating. Whether you're lining up at Giro or just putting in weekend miles, Caldera Lab has your back. Their high-performance skincare is made specifically for men. My favorites, the Clean Slate is a must. It's their pH-balanced cleanser that uses probiotic ferments and plant-based ingredients to gently clean and exfoliate without drying you out. Perfect after a grimy day in the saddle. And their eye serum is a key building block for podcasters tired from waking up to watch these start-to-finish stages super early in the morning. It helps knock back puffiness and dark circles with a smart peptide complex, so you look rested even when you're not. And the base layer is their nutrient-rich moisturizer that absorbs fast, hydrates deep, and leaves a clean, matte finish. No shine, no grease. Throw that on your legs, too, as well as your face when you're done shaving. Keeps you moisturized. Every product goes through years of testing and is plastic neutral, meaning everything comes in fancy glass packaging that will make you feel like Patrick Bateman running through his in-depth morning routine. Skincare doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be good. Upgrade your routine with Caldera Lab and see the difference for yourself. Go to calderalab.com/themove and use code THEMOVE, spelled out THEMOVE, at checkout for 15% off your first order. Again, that's calderalab.com/themove for 15% off your first order. This episode is brought to you by Manukora Honey. Are you looking for something simple and delicious to add to your wellness routine? I used to throw honey into everything: tea, breakfast bowls, protein shakes, even salad dressings. But then I discovered Manukora, and honestly, it puts all other honeys to shame. It's rich, creamy, and has this deep, complex flavor that makes you want to eat it straight off the spoon. And that's exactly what we do. My kids love it. I love it. So when we're all up in the morning watching these Giro stages, we're just taking spoonfuls of this Manukora honey, and we are ready to go for the day. But what sets Manukora apart is what's inside. It's packed with powerful nutrients that support immunity and gut health, thanks to bioactive rich nectar that bees collect from the Manuka tea tree in New Zealand. It even contains a unique antibacterial compound called MGO, and every harvest is third-party tested, so you know exactly what you're getting. I was actually picking my kid up from school, and one of the other parents, which is from a country next to New Zealand, said, "Hey, if you're sick, try the Manuka tea tree honey, and you're going to feel better." And I did, and I can't recommend it enough. So I have to say, Manukora honey is honey with superpowers. It's ethically produced, wildly delicious, and a real upgrade from your average sweetener. And you're in luck because it's easier than ever to try Manukora honey. Head to manukora.com/themove to save up to 31% plus $25 worth of free gifts with the starter kit, which comes with an MGO 850 plus Manukora honey jar, 5 travel sticks, and a wooden spoon. I can't recommend the spoon enough. I love that spoon. And a guidebook. I got the starter kit, and I can't recommend it enough. It is fantastic. That's manukora.com/themove to save 31% plus $25 worth of free gifts. manukora.com/themove. That's manukora.com/themove. All right, back to the show. All right, Johan. So stage 2, still in Albania, still in the capital, Tirana, way bigger town than I thought it was. I was shocked at how big of a city that, like, half the country must live in this city. It's only 13.7 kilometers. It's a city circuit, so slightly technical, a lot of turns. The pink jersey's on the line. There's, I guess, like a bubbling beneath the surface GC battle. Like if you're a GC rider, you don't want to lose time. I'll list off the odds on Unibet, and then I'm quite curious to hear who you think is going to win. So Josh Charling's a favorite on Ineos, plus 125. Wout van Aert, plus 375. Primoz Roglic, plus 550. Juan Ayuso, plus 1,000. Mateusz Wycheck, plus 1,200. Brandon McNulty, who won the opening time trial at the Vuelta last year, plus 1,600. Mads Pedersen, plus 1,800. Jay Vine, plus 2,000. And it goes on, but I think the winner will come from that group. Who do you think is going to win this, Johan?
Yeah, well, Tarling is the favorite. He is, of course, a pure time trial specialist. There's a little climb in the middle. Doesn't look like much, but on a short course like this, a 1.7 kilometer climb, that kind of breaks the rhythm for the pure specialists. Although it's only 5-6%, but still, it's not the same as completely flat. So, Darling, I think it's kind of to be expected that he got dropped. I mean, if there's only 35 riders together, and he didn't go for the. I mean, it was going to be difficult for him to go for the stage win. So we don't know if he really got dropped because he was extremely on the limit. He was on the limit, that's for sure. We don't know how deep he wanted to go, right? I still think he's the favorite, but I'm going to go for Mateusz Wycheck tomorrow. He can do this. He did a great time trial last year in the Vuelta, which was a similar distance, I think. Maybe a bit shorter, I don't know. Maybe 12 kilometers or 11 kilometers. But he finished second at like 1 or 2 seconds of Brandon McNulty. And today, man, he was on great shape. He was, like never in problems on those climbs. Did a great lead out. I'm going to pick him to win the time trial tomorrow at plus 1,200.
I love that pick. Plus 1,200. I agree. Tarling plus. The thing that really bothers me about that, he's priced is such a favorite. Plus 125 would be Jasper Philipsen Tour de France bunch sprint. What has Josh Tarling shown us that we would think? He's never won a Grand Tour stage. He was the heavy favorite for the Vuelta TT where Wycheck finished second and McNulty won last year and he underperformed. I would not feel comfortable betting him at that price. Wycheck plus 1,200, he could easily win this. This is going to be all about form, all about confidence. It might be a mistake, especially at plus 375. I thought immediately after the stage finished, stage 1, I thought, wow, Van Aert's winning stage 2, and he's going to be in pink. But I could be biased. But plus 375, I would go Van Aert. I do think Wycheck at plus 1,200 is quite interesting. Who do you think is going to be in pink tomorrow after the stage? Not at the start of the stage.
I think Wout van Aert. Wout van Aert has a good chance. He's only 6 seconds ahead of everybody else, of all the other favorites. So,
let's look at some of the fastest.
I mean, I think his big rivals for Pink tomorrow or Ayuso and Roglic.
Yeah,
they'll do a great time trial. By the way, Darling did win a time trial this year. The first the time trial in the UAE Tour. But anyway, that's already a few months ago. Was it in January or beginning of February?
Yeah, I think it was February. I mean, pancake flat. 56.6K an hour. Holy smokes. Yeah. I mean, he's a good time trial. That's why
I don't discard him to win the time trial tomorrow, honestly, even if he wasn't there in today's stage. But I think Vacek, for me, it's a good choice because he's so well priced. Primoz and Ayuso will be up there. They are candidates to win the time trial. So yeah, I think from what I've seen today, I think probably in Pink tomorrow is Primoz Roglic.
Interesting. I mean, this is opens up another conversation too. So Roglic is plus 550. Ayuso is plus 1,000. Does one of those guys win the stage? I mean,
could be.
Yeah. Yeah. But the problem, I mean, you're right. There's a climb, and it's a little harder actually than I thought it was. It's over a kilometer at,
I think it's 1.5 kilometer
at 5% average. So,
it's not extremely hard, but it's enough to break the rhythm of the pure time trial specialist. Yeah. So yeah, and Primoz is great at that, at those kind of climbs in time trials. And Ayuso is, by the way, too. So I don't know really who's going to be the best of the two, because Ayuso did great in Tirreno time trial. No, was he second?
He won it in 2024, and then he must have been second this year, right? If he won that overall, but I'll check right now. Yeah. And that's a flat one. He was second.
Yeah. How far behind Ghana?
That doesn't help. He was 22 seconds behind Ghana in a 11-kilometer time trial.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
It's he was the best of the rest. Ghana's not here anyway, so
Ghana would win this, by the way, if he was here.
Yeah,
this is one of the trickiest time trials I think I ever recall trying to predict, because you have these two lighter GC guys. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if we're sitting here tomorrow and Juan Ayuso just smokes the time trial and is in the lead, and we're like, wow, we should have seen that coming. Plus 1,000. That was the easy pick. I also wouldn't be shocked if Roglic did it. I also wouldn't be shocked if we're sitting here saying, well, that was always way too short for these GC guys. They didn't prepare for an explosive. It's going to be like a 15, 16 minute, maybe even less, maybe 13-minute effort. Obviously, the more powerful Wout van Aert won this time trial. So rarely do you get something like this, and then they've set it up well. I think this foreign start, I'm already a fan of it, with the battle for the paint.
Beautiful scenery, and really nice climbs.
Yeah. Shocking. Yeah, couldn't believe it. I was actually at dinner the other night with a couple that is going to hike in Albania, and I didn't know Albania had mountains until that dinner. So I'm glad I had dinner with them before this Giro d'Italia. But I would go with Van Aert, and then as a wild card, if it's still priced better than your favorite, Juan Ayuso, I think, would be my wild card at plus 1,000.
Okay.
Who would you do if you had to pick a wild card? Who would you?
So I said Vacek, and then wild card.
Primoz.
I want to say Primoz.
Yeah. I mean, your double of plus 550, plus 1,200. That's pretty good. You could bet on both of them and make quite a bit of money if one of them won. Any other thoughts, Johan, before we take off?
That's it, man. I just hope that the guys who crashed, and especially Mikel Landa, didn't look good. I hope he's okay. And that, at least he can recover for the Tour de France. Bummer.
I know. Yeah. I mean, you rarely see someone crash first day of a Grand Tour and just there was no chance that he was getting up to continue the race.
No, it looked bad straight away. It was really, there was the curb, and then there was the light post, which I think he hit, and then he went like
staircase or something,
like a little staircase. So that was like three factors that contributed to his bad luck and his bad back crash.
All right. Well, we hope he's okay, and we will be back tomorrow to break down this stage and then predict stage 3.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Right. See ya. Bye.